Hello and welcome to the podcast called I Am Here. You're supposed to do the air horns. Oh wait, there it is. Oh, you did, but you froze on my computer.
You know what? Like, that's special effects, all right? That's just special effects. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Hello, welcome to the podcast. She is Amarilis Garcia.
That me, bro.
Wait, are we doing last names?
Girl, I think you just put it out there. So Amarilis Garcia,
sorry,
Gabriela
never mind.
Bam.
Okay. Hi, I'm Gabriela.
Yo, Gabby Gabs.
I'm Yo Gabby Gabs.
Yes, today is Yo Gabby Gabs. Welcome to I Am Here, another episode. And here we're going to go into it. Let's just do the thing.
Heck yeah.
What are we talking about today, Gabby?
We're talking about self-imposed timelines.
Yeah, do you know what we're talking about?
Huh? Yeah, now I know what we're talking about. We talked about it right before.
Let me tell you, okay, how Gabby comes in. I'm going to put you on blast to everybody.
Oh my gosh.
How she comes in and she's like, what is it that we were talking about again? Well, I prepared. I'm ready to talk about it, but I don't know what it is.
I'm always ready to talk, and it's fine because this is like you said, it's a conversation.
Yes.
So we made this podcast for because we like to talk. So it's not like I have to sit down and read my journals. I mean, I would love to do that for ASMR purposes, but that's a different time.
That's a whole different podcast. You got to take that over there. So, all right, go for it since you prepared so well for it.
Yo, there's no need to put me on blast like that, but okay.
I love it. It's hilarious.
Okay,
I mean, we wouldn't be family.
I feel like I'm in high
school
school again. Okay.
What do you mean?
Okay, because when you had to do a presentation for high school and maybe you forgot and then they tell you to go upstate, go in front of the class and talk. So then you go in front of the class and you're like, oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And then you just either
oh my gosh.
Is that not relatable?
How do you accidentally forget that you have a presentation that day? Let me I've had dreams like that. But I can't say that happened in real life where I forgot I had a presentation.
Is that just a Gen Z problem?
I don't know. I think I would freak out so much about having to do a presentation that my anxiety would not allow me to forget. So, I mean, if you forgot that you had a presentation, big ups to you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Oh, I tried my best to forget it. Okay, we were talking about expectations and then pressuring ourselves to finish at a certain time.
Yeah, just the timelines that we do. Because, I mean, there is so much pressure almost always. I don't know. I don't know if it's almost always. Maybe it's just... But I think there's a lot of pressure socially. Socially? I don't know. Words are hard to me. Don't come to me. But just pressures around performance, work, school, even familial of when you when you're gonna get married, when you're gonna have a kid, all these things,
yes.
So we start adapting those to ourselves and almost create these timelines of I'm gonna do this by this time. So kind of talking about that, if that makes sense, of how those self-imposed expectations, self-imposed timelines have actually played out in our lives.
Yeah, I see.
When they have been beneficial and when they may not be so very beneficial, actually.
Ooh, that's a very good topic that I knew. I did not just find out. I definitely knew about. I think it's interesting because I just think about when we talked about this topic initially, the first thing that my brain just went to was the idea of graduating in 4 years, like college. And very few people that I know have actually graduated in 4 years. And I actually have a lot of friends that are so they're beating themselves up because they might be on their 3rd year or 4th year, and then they might have to take an extra semester. And then of course there's also the issue of money, but it's also the biggest thing that they say is I'm falling behind. It's not even
Girl,
I can't afford it.
That is the line. I am falling behind. I feel like everybody else is ahead of me. In what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what race is this? Like,
Exactly.
racing?
No, if life is a race, I don't
I
want
know,
it
like,
to win.
I don't want to win. I don't want to win to get to like the finish line. Like, what?
Exactly.
But that's
Yeah.
what it's like when you stop and think about it. You're like, wait a minute, who am I competing against for what? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I don't know
Yeah.
where are we going to. But that's a big thing because I remember like we would call. I don't know if they still call people like this, but we call them super seniors. And when people are
Yes, they
like,
do. They still call. I'm a super senior.
yeah, you're a super duper senior.
Yeah, I'm a super senior.
Yeah, but it's almost like that thought of like, if I don't graduate in 4 years, college, then I failed in some way or another, or I'm behind everybody else. So there's so many different aspects of that.
Like one that just came to mind right now, when we were in high school, the race to being in a relationship was so real for no reason. Like I think about that back in high school. That was the biggest thing. It's like, oh, you're not in a relationship, you haven't been in a relationship yet, you need to get on that because blah 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 blah. And
Because there's no, they don't even say blah 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 blah. There's just no because. It's just like, what's wrong with you? Like that would be always the response I would get because I was one of those people who also like, girl, I didn't get into like a formal relationship, a real relationship until I was 22.
oh,
Okay,
I'm 22.
like Taylor Swift. What is that song?
I'm feeling 22, right?
Yes, but I remember that too, and I remember journaling about it in high school. Just like my thoughts were like, man, I'm so behind. Like never like gotten in a relationship. Like I remember writing down like, yo, I'm 16. I haven't like I'm like 16. I haven't really like dated
Oh
anybody.
my
Like
goodness.
by now it's probably too late. Like this is what my at 16, the craziness of like, oh man, like am I even like is it ever gonna happen? I don't know. So it was almost this really like catastrophizing, like, oh my gosh, I'm so old at 16 that there's no way that this is ever gonna happen. And I remember when I got into my first relationship and I was like, at that point I wasn't even worried about it anymore. Like it was just like, it was whatever. It's like, what's the rush? What's the point of this? Like and not point of the relationship, but what is the point of rushing into something like this? I was like, we're just enjoying time.
Yeah. I think
It's
that's
crazy.
interesting because when you were talking about journaling, I always be, if you see me jotting things down on the side, it's like I'm thinking about what you're saying and then I'm like, okay. But and I actually have this, kind of cheesy, but I have this document called Letters to My Future Husband, and it's on my Google Docs.
When did you start that?
How old were you? I was like probably 16, 17 when I started writing it. Okay. Yeah. So it's pretty young. And in it, like, it's so crazy because you see your vision of love change drastically throughout the years. And I remember specifically in the different times of my life that I kept telling and you know, obviously I'm still young, but like, and we're both still young, but I
like how you had to add that in there.
No, I just want, no, because you said I called you old the other time. I don't remember which time, and I was like, no, she's not old. To me, you're my age. But anyway, you have more life experience than me. That has nothing to do with, okay, I'm gonna shut up. But anyway,
I love it.
Letters to My Future Husband. And in it, I was like, oh my gosh, I wrote a list of everyone in the family, like from the women's side, that had a relationship by the time they were 18. And the list was ridiculously long. And then I was comparing myself to these people saying, there's something wrong with me. And then I just kept saying, I am the problem, because if all these people I know are in a relationship, if all these people that are my family have been in relationships at the age that I have been, then there must be something wrong with me. And in the list, I started apologizing for that, like, to my future husband. And then looking back at it, I kind of laugh because I'm like, why am I apologizing for living my life? I noticed that another thing is like media and like TV shows.
Especially at that age when you're a teenager, all you're watching is like these shows and these movies and like everything's like, yo, they're getting married. We're like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh. Like, think about Twilight. They got married right out of high school. Like, they had just turned 18. Well, one
I
of them was,
remember being in school. I remember being in high school. And I went to prom for like 15 minutes. Don't judge me. I went to prom for like 15 minutes and then I left. I mean, I forget where we went. I think we went to Taco Bell afterwards. I was just like, we went for, because it was whack. But I remember, yeah, it was so whack. I was so disappointed. But I remember, like, there was a proposal at my prom.
I'm sorry, what?
That face right there.
Let me. You said proposal, not promposal, right?
No. Proposal for marriage, engagement ring and everything. Like, it was a big thing. And it was like, everybody was so happy and they were celebrating. And I remember standing there and I'm like, what is happening? Like, whoa, like, I'm happy because everybody has their own journey. And I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody has their own journey. But I remember being 17 at that time and I'm like, wow, that's really early. You know, and again, it's just these timelines. Like, some people get married at 17 and 18 and they live happily ever after. But I knew for me, I was like, in that moment, I was like, that is not my story.
Yeah.
I remember, like, once I graduated college, because I graduated high school and I went straight to college. I did the 4 years because, again, I thought I was in that same, like, this is what you're supposed to do. So Amarilis in that moment, in that time, was like, all right, I got to do this by this time. Like, and I was so, it's so crazy because I'm not like that. But when it comes to school and work, I can be very like mechanical. And I was like, all right, check this off. Like, it was just check boxes. I could just do it. Boom, get it done. Whoop. Oh, I could, I need, how many classes can I take? All right, I'm going to take all the classes I could take. Boom, done. I know.
I wish I could do that.
But here's the thing. I was lacking so much socially and emotionally. I didn't really give myself the chance to develop in in that aspect. I was just focused on academics, and it was like, I would go to class, come to the room, and I didn't do anything else. Yo, when my freshman year, I didn't go to any social gatherings. I didn't go to any social events. I didn't go to any parties, right? Sad face, big time, because I wanted to.
Wait a minute. I didn't do that either in my freshman year.
I wanted to, but there was a part of me that was like, I was so scared. That's what it was. It was like intense fear because I was so out of my little bubble. And I was waiting for people to literally come and invite me and like do it for me. Because people would invite me and I'd be like, no, you know, like, no. So I'm like, what the heck? What, like, they're giving you an opening, what, like, but for some reason I was socially anxious, not knowing it. And freshman year, let me tell you how I went to my first party. The first party I went to was because this group of people got tired of my nonsense. They came into my dorm room and they're like, oh, come on. Like, you know, like there was a fraternity. They're going to have a step show. Let's go to the step show. And I'm like, no.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, it sounds like fun. And inside I was like, this sounds like fun. But I was like, no, I'm going to stay. Anxiety is real, bro.
Yes, it is.
And they're like, nah, no. And it was like, all right, 2, 3. I had to count. There was like 3 dudes, and there was like 3 or 4 girls, part of this group. They're all in my dorm room. They're like, They come and they grab my clothes. They pick clothes out for me. They have me, like, they have me change. They're like, you're changing now. They put perfume on me, and the dude come and grab me, pick me up, put me over his shoulder, carried me out of my dorm room to the elevator to go to the freaking step show.
Oh.
Craziness.
That is crazy.
It's crazy. And I got, like, he bumped my head on the wall and everything. But that's how extreme it was, right? So
Yeah.
I'm recognizing, and I know internally, I'm like, okay, socially I'm not really engaging, but I was really like, and the way that people tell you, like everything that they tell you to do, I went and I did my 4 years, checked off all the lists, and my last semester, I was applying to grad schools, got into grad school before I graduated. I was like, all right, going to grad school, getting my master's. I had this whole plan all engineered in my head of I'm moving, I'm going to move out of Pennsylvania, and just going to the grad school that accepted me. I was going to complete a doctorate degree. So I applied for to become a psychologist, because at that point I was like, I'm going to be a psychologist. I'm going to get my doctorate degree. So I went straight from undergrad, moved to Florida to go to grad school. But in my head, this is what I thought. This was the timelines I gave me. I gave myself, all right, I'm graduating undergrad at 21 years old. Going to finish my degree. I'll start school around, like, I'll be turning 22 when I start school. It's a 5-year program. So by 5 years, I'll graduate. I'll be 27. By 27, okay, I'll have a job. And like once I graduate, I'll be a psychologist. I'll have some kind of financial cushion and basis. And then I could buy my house, and I probably meet my husband by that time. So then we could, like, this is how I
You're
planned
saying
it out.
all of this, and I'm just
What?
thinking about, I don't even know what I'm gonna eat for breakfast tomorrow. Your Amarilis at like my age is like so like
crazy. Okay, well, I'm not gonna say, okay, I can't, let me take that back, because some people they work
some people are like that.
And you know what?
Organized.
Like in my head, it wasn't crazy. I think to me it was realistic. I was trying to be open and being realistic of the fact that this is the amount of time that I need to take to study. While I'm studying, I won't be able to start a family. So once it's just like once I finish school and have the ability to really dedicate to a family, then I will be able to create that. And I was like, planning it like, this is just what may happen. This is my timeline.
Oh no.
I come to school, I go to school, and I did 1 semester and a half. I did 1 semester and a half in my doctorate program. Because again, I'm like, okay, this is the timeline. These are the expectations. This is what my life is going to be like. I'm going to be a professional working woman, and I'm going to have a family. That's what I'm going to do. That's it. And I remember moving from Pennsylvania to Florida, and life hitting me in the face. I don't know anybody. I have no family down here. I have no friends down here. I'm in a program that doesn't really fit me, and that took a toll on me. It was more the social aspect of it and the emotional aspect of being alone, being tired, being frustrated, trying to grind and work, trying to make it work. And that then interfered with my ability to really focus 100% on school. So in the beginning of my second semester, I remember contemplating the idea of, I may need to drop out. I may need to drop out because I don't feel good. And it wasn't physical. It was just like, I didn't feel good in that place. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't see myself living like that for another 5 years or 4.5 years. So the next day I went to the administration, and I was like, I'm going to withdraw. And my intention, I was like, I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to stabilize myself a little bit economically. I need to get my life together, and then I'll come back. That was my intention. And then I'll come back. And I remember they told me, you know, when people withdraw, they don't tend to come back. Are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, in my head, I was like, ooh, that was like a challenge. Like, you don't know me, I'm going to come back. Right. But I left. It was the best decision I could have made, because that was not my journey. That was not my path. That was not really my purpose. Had I stayed in that program, I would not be where I am.
Exactly.
And I like where I am. I think
and you've made so much impact in where you are too. Like that's the coolest part.
It's because I learned so much by walking away from my expectations and walking away from my own timeline. Like stepping away from my expectations, things changed and it became more of a purpose, and a purpose driven decision versus this is what I'm supposed to do. And I went back to school. I got my master's, and here I am working trauma and abuse. Yeah. And I still don't got no husband. I still don't got no family, right?
You don't need a husband.
I don't need no husband, right?
But I'm your family.
Oh no.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
You're cute and all, but you know.
Okay, it's fine. I'll take it. It's fine.
You're cute and all. But this is a thing, because there's parts of me sometimes that I do grieve. I'm like, dang, yo, like I'm 34. Like I've been able to.
You don't look 34.
Girl, say it again. I don't think they hurt you in the back.
She don't look 34. She looks probably like 18. You look 18.
Girl, I'll pay you that money real quick after the show. Okay, thanks for But here's the thing, like I because that's still a big part. Remember, my image was, and my goal was, I'm gonna be a working professional family woman, right? And I set up things in my life where it's just like I build like a tower, and then it's just like broken down, because that's not really it's just not the way God wants me to live.
Yes.
Honestly, it's just like, and I've had so many different conversations with him and arguments with him in my prayers throughout the years, of like, yo, but this is what I'm supposed to do. Why are you taking that away from me? Why are you doing this? And it's just like, again, it's almost like,
what they say.
What do they say? What do they say?
They say, if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans.
I don't like that. I don't like that quote.
But it's true.
I don't think he laughs at me. I don't think he laughs when
I think he laughs at us. I think he laughs at us a lot.
He laughs. He laughs at me all the time because he thinks, this ain't you so cute. But I also think that there's a part of us and like our goals that match his goals. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that desire. I think he gives us those desires. I heard somewhere, it's not my quote, so I forget who it is though, but the root words of desire is like of sire, like of Lord, desire is del Señor, right?
That's so cool.
So when we have a desire, I don't know who said that, but it's stuck in my brain. I wish I could give you credit, but I don't remember. But thinking of desire of the Lord, when I have a desire, it's because it comes from God. It comes from a spiritual place. It's a matter of how attached we are to that desire, and how attached to we are to how it looks, so I wanted to help people, and I wanted to be a professional, but it wasn't in the way that I imagined it to be. It turned out to be something different. But when I'm looking at my life, I am meeting a lot of those desires of helping, of working, of collaborating, of I'm still in the same field. It's just a different lane. And I have those conversations of like, yo, well, like I still have those fights. I'm still trying to grow. He's still trying to mold me because it's a battle. And I'm like, well, yo, like, okay, now like I did all these things and I still have those fights. I'm like, I did all these things, right? Why am I still waiting for the emotional family part? And what I keep getting is just like, girl, you gotta wait.
Yeah.
You gotta wait, because one of my prayers has always been, prepare me to be the best woman I can be, to be the best mother, to be the best wife, to be just the best sister. But I pray for my future family, and for me to be what that future family desires and needs. So I think a part of it in this stage of my life where I'm at is accepting that I'm not there yet. You know, that I'm still being molded to be what my family may need. And again, the idea of what I have family looking like may not be what I actually need or get. Family may look completely different. So it's almost like, all right, I have these expectations and these desires and these certain timelines, and they don't work, you know? And it's not to say that I don't make plans. I do make plans, but it's almost opening myself up to know that the plan is always flexible, that it's not how I get there, but it's the feeling and the ultimate goal that God has. So that's why I disagree with that. God, you make plans and God laughs, because I'm like,
I think
he makes the path for you.
Listen, this is how I take the quote. I take the quote as when we think we have our life planned out and we think we know exactly what we're gonna do,
God's like, oh, you're cute.
He's gonna laugh because he's gonna be like, oh, that's cute. You think you know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but you don't. And that's how I take it. And I always think about that quote. And I think whoever said, I think I read somewhere that whoever said it was a jerk. I could be wrong. So it's not about the person who said it. It's about, I don't know. I just think about the idea of me telling God everything, or not God, just me telling the world and me telling myself exactly word by word and every single thing that is gonna happen from now until whatever time. Because I think about my situation and I laugh because I thought I had everything figured out. I had to
tell me about your plan.
I graduated, even going back from there, but I graduated from high school, and I immediately was like, I went to one school and I said, this is definitely the school that I'm going to stay at. I can see myself graduating from this school, which was
it was the same school I went to.
Years.
And the same school I went to where they had to pull me out of the dorm to go party.
Yes, and I did not have that experience. I did not have that experience. I was there for a year, and I told myself, I'm going to have friends. I'm going to just focus on schoolwork, no relationships, nothing. And up until that point, I hadn't been in a relationship ever. And the first thing that happens as soon as I get to that school, I get into my first relationship. And then I tell myself, this is going to be great. I'm going to focus on school and just school. And then I did not do that. And for the first few weeks of my relationship, I was just skipping classes. But eventually we broke up and I got back on the grind. And then I was kind of like where you were at that point.
But wait, time out, because you're speeding through. Wait, okay, so you came in to school talking about, and I think so many people do that. I think everybody does it every start of a new semester, whether you're in high school or whether you're in middle school or college. It's just it's like a fresh start. So you're just ooh, I'm gonna do it right this time. I'm just gonna study. I'm gonna fix everything without really having steps. You're just it's gonna be different this year, or it's gonna be different this semester. I'm gonna be on top of it. So I think it's kind of that promise of a fresh start. But then you got into a relationship, which was not what you were expecting.
Yeah, was not what I was expecting. And
I think maybe you needed that.
Maybe the guy was kind of crazy, but it's funny because the week before I had told my dad, it was in the car with my father, and I turned to him. He was not the one that told me. I was the one who told him. I said, no boys for me. Usually it's the dad that says, no boys for you, focus on your schoolwork. No, he was like, whatever happens, happens. And I turned to my dad and said, no boys for me. And
that is so funny. Your dad knew more than you. He's like, girl, you're going to college.
Exactly. He goes, but if anything happens, don't be hard on yourself. And I said, no, I am not going to look or breathe in a man's direction. Like, I was so set on not having a relationship. I don't know, because I was like, school. I'm paying to be here. And I was always very school oriented. And even thinking back to high school, I had never had straight A's until my sophomore year of high school. And then I started getting straight A's and 4.0s, which is, that's just funny to me now. But like, I was doing so well because I had these like ridiculous expectations that I thought I needed to follow.
You know what's funny? Like, you're like Tio Gilberto, like your dad and my mom gave us sound advice, and we were like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that runs in the family. I'm not sure, but I had that expectation of like, okay, I'm going to do good. I'm gonna do good, and this is what I'm gonna do. And it's crazy because I think back to my first semester in college. I ended up being on the dean's list like the first 2 semesters, and that was the worst semester of my life. Like, thinking back, like, I didn't leave my, like you said, like I didn't leave my dorm. I never went to a college party until like maybe last
Why are we
year.
like that?
It's a family thing. I think it's a family thing. I think it's because we're told. That's a different topic, huh?
Okay, but time out, because your dad was just like, whatever happens. Like,
yeah,
I think he was kind of insinuating that there is more to life than just books. But we got other places. Yeah, I got you.
I don't know, man. I just know that I told myself, okay, school. And then I actually had the pleasure of having 2 lovely friends. And they would like come into the room, knock on the door to remind me to eat food because I was not eating food. I was locking myself in my room and focusing on school. And I never went to anything, like, ever. I never went to any parties or anything because I was like, okay, school is important. And I wasn't happy. I got a 3.8 GPA and I wasn't happy. Oh, don't even get me started.
Well, girl, because you were locked up in a room.
Well, yeah, that's exactly why. And then I switched colleges, which I never thought was going to happen. Like, I thought I was going to not die in that school, but I thought I was going to ride it out.
I'm going to die in the school.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Listen, if I tell you what, I went in and I said to myself, I'm going to be an English teacher for 9 through 12 like grade. That was like my goal. I said, and I'm going to go to the school and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to graduate in 4 years. And here I am in a completely different school, closer to home, going to parties, not on Dean's List, but still doing good. As a professional writing major, because I realized that that's my passion, and I wasn't going to compromise my passion because of expectations, because
that
of the
you
world.
Put on yourself, because nobody else put that on you.
The world kept saying, and by the world I mean a lot of it was like who you surround yourself around, but a lot of it is be practical, think of your future. And we live in a generation that I think we don't really acknowledge, at least a lot of the time older people don't really acknowledge, not everyone, but that there are a lot more opportunities in several different fields that they never knew or they couldn't
brand new. They didn't exist before.
Exactly.
I think a lot of times our family or even old mentors or teachers or different community members or our friends try to prepare us and give us advice on things that don't exist anymore, a time that doesn't exist anymore, generations that don't exist anymore. So they're giving us tools that were helpful to them, or things that they learned that they wish, or maybe, like sometimes it's like things I wish I would have known, so I'm giving to you now. But there's certain things that are different now, that are not the same. That's a different world, and it's like those tools no longer work here. And not to say all of them, because sometimes there is like this very wise sound, like common ground, but there's like almost a practicality of like, what are you studying? Do you decide to go to college or not? Exactly. It's such a different world than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
And that's so annoying sometimes for people that are like younger.
Because you're seeing, you're seeing what the world is, and you're like, that doesn't work here.
Exactly. And it's crazy because then a lot of the time you're imposed. I remember being in high school and then thinking to myself that I wanted to be a writer, and then skipping all the writing and poetry classes to take anatomy because everyone wanted me to be a doctor because I had good grades. And I knew, like, I like science, but I knew I didn't want, especially I had to open a cat. And in the process of like me opening the cat.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
A cat, like a meow meow gato?
Meow 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 gato, yeah, that.
What the heck?
Yeah, so, okay, this is actually interesting story. They paired me up with the with the guy in the class that loved cats the most.
Yo, I had to like dissect a worm. You dissected a cat?
A cat, yes. A cute cat. And she was pregnant.
Where's PETA at? Who let the teachers do that?
I don't know. This was 2016, so it was not that long ago.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah. So it was my senior year of high school, and we're like, oh my God. I still remember that because
you dissected a cat.
Yeah, of course. But they paired me up with the one guy in the class that loved cats like a lot. And at the time, I think I had a crush on him at the time. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then so I was the one opening the cat, which like in
I'm
my
gonna
mind,
save you, boo.
Yeah, I know. I'm like thinking back and I'm like, wait, he probably still scarred to this day. At one point, I like stood on top of the lab table and I just like started like ripping it apart. And then I still remember his face like terrified. And like I had to do it. I wanted to get a good grade and this boy wasn't touching it. And my teacher came by and she's like, Gabby, get down from the table. That's unsanitary. And I'm like, we're dissecting a cat. What is sanitary about this situation? But okay. But anyway, sorry, completely off topic.
Yo, that's crazy.
I took anatomy because I told myself, and I told myself I want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a doctor. After taking anatomy, I had an A in anatomy, and I still was like, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you have to do it. And that's something
that's so important.
Yeah. And we live in a world where we're versatile. Like a lot of us can do many different things. And it's okay to pick the one that you like the most and not the one you're best at necessarily. And I remember thinking to myself that writing never came easy to me. I just liked it a lot. Like I was very passionate about it. And despite having a hard time reading growing up, like I still decided to go for English, which is not very practical. And I'm taking a professional writing major with a minor in, what was it? Wow, I don't even remember my minor. English literature. Yeah.
Yo.
Do I still do typos? A lot. But of course. But the thing is, I was like, okay, I switched my major sophomore year of college, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to graduate in 2 years, in the next 2 years that I'm there. And then I had to take a leave of absence because of my mental health. And then I had to take another leave of absence because of my mental health. And that's okay. And it was so hard.
And it's more than okay. It's like, bro, you need that. Like,
yeah,
exactly. I think that's what we miss. It's just like, we have these timelines and these structures and these expectations, and this is what we're supposed to do, and this is how we're going to do it. But there's this whole other side of, what about my emotional well-being? What about my spiritual growth? What about my social development? What about all these other factors that create a whole healthy human being? You know, that create, like you said, just happiness. Being like accomplishing things and meeting deadlines to what? You know, like I think about it like this, and I don't know if I told you this, but I tell people often because I see I've had a lot of conversations with AP students or like dual enrollment students who are really high achieving, and they're like, oh, I need to like, and it's exactly what we're talking about, just like having this pressure of deadlines of I have to meet this criteria and I have to do it by this time, otherwise I failed. And I just say, because I can relate to that, I can understand it. I didn't have it to that level, but I can, there's a part of me that kind of identify with that, of like wanting to be at a certain point. But again, like we were talking about, what are we rushing towards? Like, what are we rushing towards? When you go see a doctor, do you ask him what he majored in? Do you know what your doctor's major was in?
No.
No. When you see a doctor, okay, do you know whether he graduated in the 4 years? Did he graduate and complete his undergrad bachelor's degree in 4 years?
We don't know.
Or did he take 7 years to complete it? You know, do we know if your doctor, if she took a leave of absence or if he took a leave of absence? We still call them doctor. They still are doing the same work. So when you think about it long term, how much does it really affect us when we do something, like when we accomplish, by what deadline we accomplish it? It doesn't really change our ability to serve, to create, to develop, to connect. Like, it doesn't. So what am I sacrificing in order to achieve this timeline, this fixed thing that I just developed in my head because I think that's what I'm supposed to do, and I'm magically gonna be perfectly happy by April of 2021? You know, like, doesn't make sense.
If only.
Yeah.
If only it were that simple.
And I think that's part of it. We want to make it that simple because it gives us some false sense of security. Like, if we have a plan and it's perfect, and now we're like, I'm good.
Yeah. It's weird. Because we were talking about dates of like getting married and whatever. And I found a journal when I was a kid. I had written down that I was going to get married at 25.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with getting married at an early age.
But it's crazy for you because you're not at that point. You know, and it's just like little 8-year-old Gabriela, maybe 16. Let's give her 16-year-old Gabriela was like, this is the timeline. But based on just like, and I think honestly that's pretty natural when we're younger. You know, we see like we were talking about movies, shows, family life, and we're like, this is how it's supposed to be. My parents got married at 25. By 25, I'm going to get married, you know? And we put that as just like the end all be all, and that's the only way because that's what we've seen. And I think that's very natural of being younger. But then as we grow, we're seeing, life is so different. Life is so different, and there's so many different, and it's supposed to be like, as you grow and you develop your identity, you start shedding different layers and saying, okay, this is the me that people expected me to be, but that's not really me. This is a me that I was, and it served its purpose, and now it's no longer serving me. Thank you. I appreciate that work that you did for me, but now I'm like becoming a different person, and we're constantly traveling, constantly discovering, constantly being challenged in different ways by life, just with environmental issues, like societal issues that come up, family issues that come up, and just our own internal process of discovering all this. You're going to pivot, you're going to redirect, and you're supposed to. Like, we're evolving creatures. That's what we're supposed to be doing. It's just really funny how sometimes when we stick almost to the timeline and to expectations, we become so fixated on it that it causes us more stress. And once we let go of that expectation and those timelines, we start to kind of see freedom and feel freedom of, yo, there's so many possible ways of getting to this end goal, to the actual purpose. Because when we look at it, it's just like, well, I think about it. I can't speak for everybody, but I think about it for me of like, why did I want to finish a degree? Why did I want to be complete my psychology degree by this certain time? Because in my head, I was planning, I want to be a professional helping person. And I want to have time to enjoy my youth, you know, because I was thinking I'll just put in the work up front so that way I have more time to just enjoy my youth. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
I'm sacrificing my youth so I can enjoy it.
Right? Actually, that's actually one of the things that I think about when I think of my mom is I'm trying so hard not to do that because of her. Like my mom she got 2 masters. She was working on
Yeah, she's like a professional student, your mom.
Yeah. She was on her 3rd master's and I was like, "Oh wow." Like she was always, and I didn't see her for like barely saw her. And then her whole time, and then she was diagnosed with cancer. And then towards the end of her life, like I remember asking her about that because like I remember being very like student oriented, like school oriented. This is what I want to do, is what I want to do. And then she told me, yes, but don't forget to have fun. Just don't forget to be in the moment, because I had this whole plan, and she used to say everything happened for a reason. And it did, because I did get to spend a lot of time with her. And even though it wasn't in her plan or like in her expectations as to what was going to happen, I'm in a weird way grateful to have had her be close to me and not be always in like work. Because I think about if she wouldn't have been diagnosed, if she wouldn't have come home and any of that, I probably wouldn't be the person I am today, because I wouldn't have had so much influence from her. So that's like one of the things that helped me kind of accept that we never know. And that's okay to not know. There's a song by
You're not
John
supposed
Bellion.
to know.
Yeah, there's a song by John Bellion. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's a song and it's called Maybe IDK, Maybe I Don't Know. And the entire song is just like wondering why all these things, and then you're like, well, maybe I don't know, and maybe that's okay. And that's like kind of what I think about when I think about expectations, and I think about all the pressure we put on ourselves. It's okay to put on a little bit of pressure, like a little bit. It's okay.
Because it does, like, I mean, there's a difference between like this pressure of timelines and goals. I think the difference. Have a goal, and in order to meet it and to accomplish it, I do have to break down into small steps and give myself a deadline. You know, like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it by Friday. You know, because that helps me stay accountable and helps me continue to move. I think the difference and the problem comes in when we tie ourselves to these timelines. And there's so much rigidity that we beat ourselves up, and our whole world starts crashing down when things don't go exactly as we want them to, or exactly. And I think, honestly, if things worked out exactly as I planned, I think I would be upset. I think I would be upset, because what is the fun in that? Where's the joy and the mystery of just like all of these crazy stories? When I start looking back, I'm like being able to have like that hindsight and look back and say, dang, all these steps that I thought were circumstantial, all these events that I thought were coincidences or meaningless, because I was like, oh, what the heck is this? Blah, 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 stupid. I'm just doing this because I have to do it for right now. But this is stupid. All those things then lined up to give me the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom to meet something else, you know, to really accomplish and meet a part of me, a goal of mine, and a feeling, you know, like I think I say these goals, but it's more of like the purpose in my life, the whole reason of being. And it's opening space up so God can be miraculous. That's almost like I see. I'm like, I had a certain plan and I had it like this. And if it came out that way, I don't think I would be happy. I don't think I'd be happy, because then the mystery and the joy and the freedom is gone. It's almost exciting. It's, don't get me wrong, it's exciting in a very scary, uncertain.
Yeah. It's like a roller coaster. Or you're going up, and then you look, and there's a big.
Oh man, that's the worst part. I love it when you're just like at the top, and it's like it's going up, and you're like, oh, you hear the clack 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 clack, and then you get to the peak.
That's where you are. You're at the peak. When you're at the peak, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh, I know what's gonna happen, but look, that's how it feels.
No, and then it's just like almost like time freezes, like it's a pause, and then you're just like, I know it's gonna drop, but when, and can it happen soon, because this is scary. Oh, so much.
Yeah, it's the anticipation a lot of the time.
Yeah. What are you grateful for, bro?
I'm grateful. Can you go first? Because I don't remember what I'm grateful for.
What the heck? What the heck?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. You got something?
I'm grateful for this green tea from Panera.
I can't with you.
It's really good.
Green tea is awesome. Hydration is important. Oh, green tea is so good.
Yes, hydration.
What am I grateful for today? I am grateful for, okay, I'm grateful for giraffes.
Why?
Okay, this is the reason. Giraffes. This is the reason, because I remembered when you were here the last visit, and yes, and you were kind of having like a moment, and then I was like, all right, bro, yes. What are you grateful for? List out all the things that you're grateful for right now. Go. And you just said giraffes out of nowhere, and you're like, I don't know why I said giraffes. But giraffes are cool, man. Like, they're so cool. Like, they have the long eyelashes, and then just have these long, and their black tongues. I remember like going to Six Flags, and okay, I fed them.
That's exactly what I'm.
You remember, because you were there. You were mad little.
We fed them. We weren't supposed to, but we fed them.
Supposed to. Peter's gonna come after us for this show, because I definitely fed they came through the sunroof, and like your mouths are just coming into the car. I remember your car behind us, and we're like, oh, they can't move. They're surrounded by giraffes. But they were coming in, and like their tongues are all black, and we're feeding them Cheetos. Like we're feeding the giraffes Cheetos. Like,
oh no! Well, I'm sure they're fine, or well, they're probably dead by now. But like, because that was a long time ago. But
I don't know, how long did they live?
I'm gonna Google it right now.
I hope they're still alive, but I know they stopped. I think they stopped having the giraffes out because people kept feeding them, and we were not supposed to. But
how long do giraffes live? Oh no. Oh, okay. 20 to 25 years.
Oh, they're good.
They're fine. They're probably fine.
Good. They're good. They're good.
Yeah.
Our homies are fine with their Cheetos. But I'm grateful for giraffes, and I am grateful for surprises.
Yes. Do I have to say a deep thing now?
No, you don't gotta say nothing. You like your green tea.
I'm grateful for hydration.
You better stop. I thought you were about to start beatboxing, but please don't.
Oh no.
We'll work on that for the next show. Yeah, all right. So thank you guys, everybody, for sharing with us your moments, your time, and just hearing our stories. Hit us up on Instagram. You could send us DMs. IAmHerePod. Yes. Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, IAmHerePodcast on YouTube.
You can leave a comment on your favorite part of this podcast.
Yes, let us know your stories. Let us know your timelines, and just share with us or what you want us to talk about next time. Shoot us an email at IAmHerePod@gmail.com. Yes. Whoop, whoop. All right, homies, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you. And we are glad that you are here. And I am here with you. What's up?
Whoop, whoop. Thank you.